Y'all, let's get into what it means to tap into your true authenticity. Let's talk about what it means to focus on self devotion. Let's talk about what it means to truly trust your most powerful self and the way you are going to tap into your authentic power. The way you're going to tap into being your most authentic self is absolutely through devotion, self devotion, and most importantly, seduction. Seduction is the key. Now, let's talk about what seduction is not. A lot of us were taught that seduction is about manipulating someone else. Seduction is about being evil, right? Seduction is demonic. But actually, when we think about being our authentic self, when we think about seduction in that way, you have to think about what seduction really is. At its core, seduction is about trust. So, in my world, when I ask you to focus on self devotion, self seduction, I'm asking you to trust yourself. I'm asking you to think about the fundamentals of seduction. So, we have self trust. We also have to think about the truth. When it comes to seduction, seduction cannot happen without submission. So I'm asking you to put yourself in a position to submit to yourself, ultimately thinking about how can you trust yourself. So if you are feeling disconnected from your body, you're feeling disconnected from your feminine power, you're feeling disconnected from being the most authentic version you know you want to be, you're afraid to trust yourself outside of being the strong one, outside of work, outside of service, outside of honoring your family or your romantic connections, your friendship. This is your invitation to focus on self seduction. All right. And you have to start with how you protect your mind. So, your action step today, the way you are going to heal through self seduction, the way you're going to implement self devotion into your daily practices is asking yourself, what can I do within my own mind? The same way you show up as a mother for your children, the same way you show up in your business, for your friends, for your family, for your coworkers, for your boss, for the company that you love or hate, you have to be open to having that same sort of protection, that same conviction, that same sacred energy towards you. And you can start today in your mind, right? I want you to treat your mind like it's your baby, be it a physical baby, or if you're like me and you decided not to have children, but you have your dreams and those are your babies. How can you protect your mind? All right, so that is what we are going to talk about today. So grab your journal, grab your notebooks, grab your pen, and let's get into it. Those of you who are joining me live, just put live in the chat to let me know that y'all can hear me. Let me know that you all can hear me. And actually, I think we had a little tech issue here. So let's start all over again. I think we had a little bit of a tech issue there. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat, y'all. So, what I want to talk about today is the power of being your most authentic self. I want to talk about self devotion. I want to talk about what it means to be authentic, what it means to trust your most powerful self. So, the sacred practice that we are going to get into today starts with seduction. It starts with our mind. All right. So, I'm not sure, we had a little bit of a tech issue. So, I'm not sure how much was that actually got recorded, but we're just going to keep going because this is live, baby. This is live. This is not pre-recorded, and I'm not an AI. So let's just get into it. Okay. First of all, welcome to Healing Through Seduction, y'all. Pearl Noir here, and I want to talk about self-trust today. All right. Now let's talk about why so many strong women are moving through life on autopilot, right? Why so many people feel disconnected, feel numb, feel like they can't live out loud, feel like they are just living inside of their head, right? They cannot feel, they cannot process. And I think part of that is our relationship to our thoughts, our relationships to our mind, right? So you're functioning, you're holding it together for everyone else, but when it comes to how you speak to yourself, when it comes to whether or not you allow yourself to dream, whether or not you allow yourself to live out loud, there's a disconnect there. So again, if you want to tap back into your power, if you want to feel more authentic, if you want to stop feeling numb and disconnected, one beautiful, practical way, but it is going to be very hard for a lot of people, is to shift how you process your thoughts, right? So here's what I know to be true. Everyone was taught to prioritize negative thoughts about themselves. We were all taught, be humble. And I think a lot of people say that word, not understanding what the actual definition is. Being humble is actually one of the worst things you can do when you want to tap into your power, when you want to appreciate yourself, when you want to believe in yourself. The word humble actually means to have low importance. So you can't really tap into yourself, tap into your power, be confident, show up the way you want to in the world if you believe you have low importance. Now, what you do want to do, my suggestion, is to get in the habit of having more gratitude, not being humble. I think people think those two words mean the same thing, and they're actually complete opposites. So, how does this process work? You want to train yourself to prioritize your wins in your mind the same way you prioritize your failures. And a lot of times they're not really failures. We have to get to the point to where we honor ourselves and we see ourselves as people who are sacred enough to learn, to be students, right? One of my mantras that I love to say to myself is, I deserve to be a student. I have the right to be a student. It is my birthright to be a student. I don't have to have this human experience as someone who's just perfect, right? And so when you train yourself to constantly replay your wins in your mind, your body gets that beautiful hit. Your body doesn't know the difference between the present, the future, or the past. Your body is only going to respond to the signals that you give it. So if your goal is to stop feeling numb and disconnected, if you want to stop feeling on autopilot, if your goal is to tap back into your feminine power, support yourself more in your mind. I'm not talking about going out and shouting to the rooftops all of your wins on social media. I'm not talking about sharing it with your friends who may be going through a hard time. So you're feeling a little guilty about sharing your wins. I'm not talking about sharing your wins with family members that you know you need to protect yourself from, or even your romantic partner. I'm talking about with yourself. Can you make the commitment to yourself, to see yourself as sacred enough to replay your wins on a loop? Here's how even science backs this up, right? And we don't even need science. You can just use yourself as an example. We all know that when we revisit trauma, our body relives it. So if your body can react to trauma that way, it has to be able to react to your joy in the same profound way. I hope this is resonating for you. If it is, please let me know in the chat. One of the ways, or one of the main reasons I feel we kind of stay disconnected, is because we've gotten to a point to where it feels good to think about our failures over and over again, because that's all we know. That's what has been passed down. So sometimes, even if something is hurting us, if it feels familiar, we'll continue to do it, right? So self-devotion or self-seduction is the practice of staying with your wins long enough for your body to remember them, to believe that they're not a fluke, right? So here are some ways to begin that self-devotion. One, we're going to let the wins linger, right? When something goes right, I want you to pause. I want you to allow yourself to be in the moment to where you don't dismiss it. One, I think, bad habit that has been taught from generation to generation is something amazing does happen for you, right? And then the first thing you'll ask yourself or someone else will ask, and I know this because I did it too, what's next? And the next thing should be you staying with this celebration. I was at the Millionaire Summit in Puerto Rico about 2 years ago, and I just got off stage. I just, had my beautiful keynote debut. Right, I had been on many, many stages and done panels and everything, but I never really thought about myself as a keynote speaker until my coach gave me the opportunity. And I got off stage, and I made it very clear, it was announced that this was my debut. And someone was like, that was amazing. So what's next? And I remember being so proud to say, celebrating myself, because this has been a, 5-year dream. This has been many steps to get to this point. And what we want to do is teach ourselves not to ignore the wins. You want to let your body actually receive what is happening in real time, the same way you let your body receive disappointing news. The second thing you can do is speak out loud. When you have a win, speak it out loud, right? You know how they say, speak it into existence? I'm saying, honor it through gratitude. Speak it into existence and then respect that you are now existing in this powerful reality. Let your body feel this new shift, this new timeline, right? Train your voice and your body to acknowledge, to accept, to celebrate, to feel safe in your own expansion, right? The next thing is, I want to invite you to stop skipping over everything. When you are the strong one, you are trained to just move on to the next task, the next problem. I'm going to invite you to not to see your life as a checklist, to actually live your life. This is how you tap into your femininity, by nurturing yourself. All right. Next, I want to invite you to witness yourself like someone you deeply respect. I know you know how to deeply respect your loved ones, how to deeply respect your clients, your job, your coworkers, the goals. Deeply respect the discipline to check off the boxes, but can you find it in your heart to deeply respect how you treat yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you hold space for yourself? Can you make that a priority? And then you can ask yourself every single day, as your self devotion checkpoint, because I know you need the tools and I know you need the task. I know you still need it to be here, cerebral. Where did I show up for myself today? And when you ask, where did I show up? Focus on the presence, focus on alignment, self trust, and not productivity. You spend the majority of your life thinking about productivity, but I want you to think about alignment, self devotion, self trust, AKA self seduction. All right, that's what I have for you all. Thank you so much. If you are feeling like this is resonating, you want to dive a little bit deeper, you want a private experience, you want to be in community, please see the link and book a call with me. Let's find out how you can tap into the art of self devotion on a regular basis. All right, y'all. Thank you.